Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's live stream. Today's topic, today we're going to talk about Jamaica's central bank digital currency, going to talk about the downgrading of Trinidad through the rating agency Moody's, and we will also talk a little bit about China's real estate market and what is happening over there. But before we jump into today's office hours and today's live stream, I just want to make sure that everybody can see and hear me loud and clear. So if you can see and hear me right now, I would appreciate first and foremost, of course, a like and thumbs up, but a hi, a hello in the chat, in the comment section, just to make sure that you can actually hear me loud and clear and that you get the best experience, of course. And as always, the idea of these live streams is, of course, that I share some of my thoughts, some of my viewpoints about the current economic situation, current technological developments we see on a global scale, and what that means for the Caribbean or what that means for your business strategy. And therefore, I'm of course also interested in your point of view, in your ideas, and in your viewpoint, and hopefully we can benefit and learn from each other. So, first topic for today, Jamaica Central Bank digital currency. Maybe we start at the beginning. I think end of last year, end of 2020, maybe beginning 2021, the Bank of Jamaica announced that they are thinking about a pilot project, that they are thinking about rolling out and testing digital currency, not to confuse with a cryptocurrency or a decentralized cryptocurrency, but a central bank digital currency, meaning most of the cash, most of the money that we have in our bank and money system today is already digital, existent as some entry in some database, either in a commercial bank or in a central bank. And therefore also a big part of our money is already digital. So why do we need a central bank digital currency, or what is it in the first place? And probably the biggest differentiation or the biggest difference is that, as the name says, a central bank digital currency is completely, or at least depending on the structure, for a big part controlled by a central bank, meaning it's a software, a program, a code, a token, whatever kind of technology is or kind of software is used at the end of the day. It means that the central bank has complete control and complete transparency over every transaction, over every wallet. And the argument for a central bank digital currency is, on the one hand, that it makes payments easier, reduces friction, and therefore also reduces costs, at least in a closed system, in a closed market. On the other hand, critics would argue that a central bank digital currency is kind of evil in and of itself, because it basically is the personification of the surveillance state, meaning it gives the government or the central bank complete control over the cash, over the money, maybe even over the buying and financial behavior of its citizens, meaning it can control where you spend your money. It can monitor and track where you spend your money, where you store it. And of course, from the perspective of tax collection, that might be a benefit or a plus point. But in terms of privacy, in terms of control through the government, of course, that can be very problematic. And Jamaica, or the Bank of Jamaica, basically started their pilot back in August, partnered with an external company that is doing all the tech side of things and all the background work. And now the Bank of Jamaica announced that they are closer to the rollout of the digital currency, meaning they are now in the hot testing phase, meaning they are giving out wallets, minting the first batches of the digital currency, and they are testing it in a closed environment, meaning with a few selected testers. A lot of them are members, employees, family members of the National Commercial Bank, which is the partner that does a lot of the trying and testing right now. And if everything is working as they plan, as they are planning to, then they want to roll out in island-wide or in complete of Jamaica in the first quarter of 2022, meaning at the beginning of next year. And I'm excited is maybe the wrong word, but very curious how this is going to play out, or how this is going to develop. If you're following my content or my live streams for some time, then you know that there are a few debates and discussions on my YouTube channel where I talk about the central bank, digital currency, cryptocurrencies, and so on, and the pros and cons. And you probably know that I'm a little skeptic when it comes to the amount of control a central bank digital currency actually gives a government, or a central bank in that case. And that I don't really like that, for reasons that I already mentioned. And what I can recommend, or what I would recommend, is to read a publication from Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden, the whistleblower, ex-NSA member that now lives in Russia. He has a blog or an email newsletter where he on a regular basis shares his viewpoints on current developments. And a few weeks ago, he wrote a lengthy article about central bank digital currencies, and points out a lot of the flaws that comes with that kind of technology, or with that kind of or form of money. So let's see how this is going to play out. Again, I'm a little bit skeptic when we're talking about central bank digital currencies. From my perspective, too much power in the hand of a few people. I don't like that at all. Anyway, we will see. All right, second topic. What we also saw, I'm not sure if it was this or last week, The rating agentur Moody's announced at the 22nd of November. Then there's Moody's downgrades Tobago's House of Assembly to be a 2 with a stable outlook, and basically downgrades Trinidad and Tobago. I always pronounce that wrong. So maybe first and foremost, we should talk about what is a rating agency. So they are, what are they doing? What is their purpose? Why do we need them? And a rating agency, there are basically 3 big credit rating agency that play a role in the global financial and investment markets, of course, especially in the bond market. Namely Moody's, that's the one that we're talking about right now. Then we have Standard & Poor's, or S&P, and then we have Fitch. We have also sometimes national credit rating agencies or other ones in other regions, but these 3 ones are the major global player, and they are the most important and relevant ones. So why are they so important, or what is a rating agency? So basically, these 3 rating agencies, what they do, they analyze states or companies and regarding their credit worthiness, and rate them, as the name says, and give them a rating from A to D. Every of the 3 rating agencies has a slightly different scale, but at the end of the day, they all go from A to D, meaning A or AAA rating is the best rating that you can get, meaning the worst, not the worst, the credit worthiest, the best rating that you can get from a credit risk standpoint, and then B, C, and then D for default, meaning when someone, meaning an institution, a state, a corporation, couldn't pay back their loan, their bond payments, and therefore D for default. And so what these agencies trying to do is to analyze the economic health situation of a country, of a state, of a company, and then try to rate them. And that is a basis for, or gives investors an orientation, basically, how risky their investment is. Meaning, if I have, for example, Germany as a very high credit rating, as far as I know, the last time I checked, we got a AAA credit rating, which is basically the best one you can get, meaning Germany as a country is seen as a very reliable economy, meaning when someone lends the money to the German government, then the probability that the German government is going to pay that back is quite high. Same with other big economies, for example, the US, Japan, and so on. Meaning these countries have to pay very little in interest rates to take these loans, to take these credits, meaning they can refinance themselves very cheaply. Because, or on the other hand, and the worse your credit rating gets, meaning the more Bs and Cs and so on you have, the more you have to pay in interest rates to your investors, because of course they want the higher risk compensated, and the way you compensate them for the higher risk that they take, meaning the higher risk in form that you cannot, or that the country or company cannot pay back the bond payments or cannot fulfill their bond payments, the higher that risk is reflected in the credit rating, the higher that entity, or the higher the interest rates of that entity. Because if I'm an investor and I have a higher risk, I want a higher return. And that's why these credit agencies exist. They basically do that all day long. And as I said, they do that for companies and they do that for countries and for states. And therefore, they are quite important when we're talking about investments, when we're talking about the ability for countries to raise money on the international financial markets. Because again, if you are downgraded or if your credit rating is quite low, then maybe your interest rates that you have to pay are so high that you can't afford them as a country, and therefore it's very hard for you to get actually access to the financial markets or raise capital that way, or finance a country economy that way. So that's basically what these credit rating agencies are doing. And there's also a lot of these credit agencies are also criticized a lot because just the way how they work on the one hand, and on the other hand, there's also the question in the room, how reliable is their rating at the end of the day? Because how does it work? So for example, let's say I'm a company and I want to raise money, meaning I want to give out a bond and get that way fresh capital into my company to invest, to grow for whatever I need that money. That were the same for a state, by the way. Then I go to one of these, or to all three of them, one of these rating or credit rating agencies, and I pay them money so that they do their assessment, that they do their due diligence, check my numbers, check my books, accounting, and so on. And then give me their rating, their approval, and they basically, I pay them for their opinion. Okay, and now after then I got credit rating X, I now can go with that credit rating to the capital markets and raise money, or borrow money rather. And you probably already are seeing the conflict of interest that we're having here, because how big is the motivation for the rating agency to give the people who are paying them, and paying them, giving them money, to give them a bad rating? Okay, so someone could argue that you can buy your rating, meaning the more money you pay, the better your rating becomes. Of course, these agencies deny that and say that they are as objective as possible and that there is no conflict of interest, and that they're only sharing their opinion so that they are not liable at the end of the day anyway. So that is, in my eyes, one problem that comes with these credit rating agencies, because on the one hand, they have a lot of power. They can basically determine if a company or a whole country, a whole state is able to borrow money at the end of the day or not. And that is a lot of power. And then that comes with the conflict of interest that, I am the one that is getting rated and I pay the rating agency, meaning, you could argue that I could be incentivized to pay them more to get a better rating, or that they give me a better rating if I pay them more, or whatever kind of compensation we're choosing here. So it's a little bit tricky. And then on the other hand, the question is, all right, how reliable are these ratings anyway? Because, for example, if we look back at the financial crisis, at the subprime mortgage crisis that we saw in 2000, starting in 2007, really unfolding in 2008, and then hitting hard in 2009. But in 2008 specifically, for example, I think a week or a few days before the investment bank Lehman Brothers collapsed and filed for bankruptcy, they still had, I think, an A rating from the big credit rating agencies. Same, and we're seeing these examples over and over again through history and through the decades that more often than not, we have a company or a state that has a still investment grade credit rating, and then from one day or in a very short period of time, they default, or they crumble, or they have problems with the payments, or in the case of Lehman Brothers, they collapse completely. Meaning the question then becomes, okay, if they couldn't even foresee events like that, where companies go bankrupt and states almost go bankrupt and cannot make their payments, if they cannot foresee that, or if they cannot analyze that in a proper way, how much worth is their rating at the end of the day anyway. So I think when we're talking about credit ratings or credit rating agencies, we have to be aware, as I said, on the one hand, on the conflict of interest that we're probably seeing here, and on the other hand, we have to ask ourselves, all right, how reliable and reliable is probably the right word, are these ratings at the end of the day anyway. But nonetheless, even if you could argue that these credit ratings are not really reliable or not really neutral or objective, at the end of the day, they still have a lot of power. And in the case of Trinidad, that downgrading, although they have a stable outlook, I think that downgrading will make it harder for Trinidad to refinance some of their debt, to get access to the capital markets and raise and borrow money to at good interest rates. At the end of the day, I think that will become harder. Unfortunately, I think a lot of Caribbean countries are in that situation right now. I think especially, for example, Barbados, when we look at the last 10, 15 years, had a few times trouble with restructuring their finances, refinancing their debt, and so on. And I think, we will, or I want to make a prognosis here. I think that over the next years, we will probably see more of that, especially in the Caribbean, meaning we will probably see more down ratings of Caribbean countries because of the pandemic. And maybe we will even see that some countries have to restructure their debt, have to maybe in default, or to file bankruptcy in some way or form, or get foreign money to make payments to. So exciting times, not necessarily positive right now in terms of the credit ratings for a lot of Caribbean countries. But nonetheless, I think that it's kind of, not a wake-up call, but makes it even, I think, more important for every Caribbean nation to make sure that their finances are in order and that they have a strategy, that they have a proper plan, proper revenue streams. As I always say, a proper business model for their country, for their state, because again, with selling real estate, reliable, or with the reliability on tourism, and so on, I think that is not a long-term sustainable business model. And therefore, I think we have to make some changes here to prevent downgradings like that in the future. Okay, we talked about Jamaica Central Bank digital currency. We talked about the downgrading of Trinidad through the rating agency Moody's. And now I want to transition and talk a little bit about the Chinese real estate market. Because I think I mentioned that in past live streams, but I see some parallels here, meaning, if we think back at 2007, 2008, the subprime mortgage crisis and then financial crisis, we have a kind of similar, similar situation, or at least some parallels with the Chinese market over the last weeks. We are seeing more and more real estate developers, more and more real estate companies getting in trouble, meaning they often have problems to make their bond payments, meaning the Chinese real estate market is extremely leveraged, meaning there's a lot of debt in the system, and therefore that kind of reminds me of the same situation as we had in 2007, 2008 in the US, meaning we were coming out of a market with very low interest rates. Therefore, it was very affordable for people to get a loan and then to buy a house, buy real estate with that loan. Therefore, the increasing demand and the constant supply, at least for some time, constant supply, drove the prices up, meaning real estate prices increased from year to year. Therefore, it was kind of a safe bet to always take more money or take a bigger loan and buy a bigger house, because that will then increase in value till next year, and then I can take on an even bigger loan, buy the next house or buy the next car, we'll finance it that way. And then at some point in time, we saw increasing inflation rates, meaning we saw signs of an overheating economy, inflation rates increased and whatnot. And then the Fed decided, all right, let's fight inflation, let's cool down the market a little bit, let's raise interest rates. And then, of course, the commercial banks transitioned or gave that higher interest rates, forwarded that to their customers. Most of them had variable interest rates, variable loans. Therefore, their monthly mortgage payments increased, and sometimes doubled, tripled, and whatnot. And of course, that caused the default of a lot of these credits, of a lot of these loans, because people just couldn't afford to pay them anymore. And now we are seeing defaulting real estate credits left and right. Therefore, the real estate prices plumb because people now try to sell their real estate, try to sell their house to pay their credit, to pay their loan back essentially, and that accelerates the falling of the prices even more. More loans default, and then the spiral accelerates, and then that hit then the banks itself because they were over leveraged and so on, and then that from the real estate market infected the banking sector, and then the banking sector infected basically the global financial system, and then caused also a lot of states to get in financial trouble. And we are seeing kind of a similar situation right now in China, meaning we have extremely high real estate prices, not only in China, also in the US, in a lot of parts of Europe, and a lot of other parts of the world. Let me know what the real estate prices are doing in your part of the world, in your country, but they are probably also have increased over the last 10 years. So therefore, we have a relatively expensive real estate market, high real estate prices on the one hand. On the other hand, we had very low interest rates over the last 10, 15 years, since 2008, since the global financial crisis. And on the other hand, we are also seeing first signs of inflation, of overheating, and whatnot. So kind of a lot of the same signs that we have seen in 2007, 8, and 9. Therefore, I would be very careful in that regard. And no matter if we're talking private situation or in your business strategy, I would always try to keep that in mind right now, especially to make sure that you have enough cash reserves, that you have enough liquidity, just in case, especially from a business perspective, that not from one day to another your liquidity or your credit lines at your banks are cancelled, and then you have a problem. So keep that in mind. And again, when we think back at the financial crisis, that real estate drama unfolded over a few years. That was not something that unfolded in a few weeks. That took a lot of time. There were a lot of signs before that, but then once the bubble burst or whatnot, then it went rather quickly, and we in that case back then we saw a real fast collapse of the stock market and basically every asset class back in the day. And I'm assuming we will probably see something similar in that situation, meaning that will probably take some time to unfold. I hope it will not, but if there will be a bang, then it will be probably a big one, and will probably not only affect China, but all the trading partners of China, and that's basically the rest of the world. So want to keep that in mind. And I also again want to kind of refer to the research or the credit rating agencies that I said earlier on. They weren't able to foresee that. They gave even very big and reliable investment banks and companies days, weeks before they collapsed and defaulted, gave them still an investment grade rating. And that's kind of similar what we saw over the last weeks and months in China. Some of the biggest real estate developers, Evergrande and other big names, in a very short period of time weren't able to repay some of the debt payments, and in a very short period, or a few months ago, nobody would have doubt that they would be able to make their payments. But that changed within a few weeks. So just be aware that these things can rather unfold and develop quickly. All right, that's it from my side so far. We saw a lot of developments this week. Again, on the one hand, Bank of Jamaica announced that they will roll out their central bank digital currency in the first quarter of 2022, that they are testing it right now. And if everything works out fine, that they go live at the beginning of 2022. Then, we talked about downgrading of Trinidad through the rating agency Moody's to Ba2, meaning they are still investment grade, but they got downgraded with a stable outlook. And we'll talk a little bit about the meaning and the relevance of these ratings and these credit agencies. And last but not least, we see a lot of interesting, not to say worrying, developments in China or in the Chinese real estate market. A lot of leverage there, very overheated prices. I think that's probably true for the rest of the world too. And therefore, I'm excited to see how this is going to play out, because I think central banks are very limited in their tools that they actually have to fight inflation. For example, they cannot that easily raise interest rates without risking the default of states that they cannot fulfill the debt payments, for example. So the tools are limited here. On the other hand, we see increasing inflation pressure. So we will see how this is going to play out. And therefore, I think it's important to be aware of these things, because especially when you are a small Caribbean nation, or if you are a company inside a Caribbean nation, you're probably highly dependent on the international economy and the international markets, China, the US, North America, or Europe, and therefore, you should be aware what is happening there, and make sure that you are prepared and know what kind of implications that can have, what kind of effects that can have for you, your business, your organization, and your circumstances. That being said, I hope that was insightful for you, and maybe I could share one or two thoughts that helped you a little bit on your journey. If that's the case, please feel free to hit the like button, to share this video with someone that you think who can benefit from it. If you haven't done so as yet, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us with that algorithm over there, and support the show and make sure that more people can see it. All right, that's it for today. I hope to see you next time for next week's live stream. And till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a good one. Bye-bye.